The opinions and views expressed on this program do not reflect those of the management or staff of Community Media of Staten Island.
Welcome back to another edition of The Good, the Bad, and the Indifferent. And I'm Reuben Warren, along with
Dave Frankel.
And Mike Axelrod.
And we're back, and we're going to be discussing, as we have in the past, things that are on our mind, on somebody else's mind. And I know that
Some of us
Dave has been lacking sleep because a lot of things are on his mind.
I was going to say, some people don't have a mind.
And some people don't. So that's why we encourage them to listen to us.
It's going to really help them, I hope.
So what's been keeping you up at night?
Well, a lot of things. Here's the thing that really gets my goat. I don't know where that came from. That's something we on the end of the program.
Yes, we could actually put that in somewhere.
On Staten Island, since this is being done on Staten Island, it doesn't matter where you go, what you have to do. Don't go on the road between 2:30 and 4:30 or 4 o'clock because school lets out. And between the buses, the parents picking up the kids, trucks, making deliveries, it's a madhouse. You can't move. You literally can't move. And it really, I don't know what can be done about it. It's because, somebody said to me, the reason is nobody just has a one-car family or a two-car family. In some cases, there are people who have 3 or 4 cars, and they're all going to do different chores.
Right.
So it's a mess. And do you guys see that and feel that where you live? I do. I can't get Forest Avenue is a mess. If I go down in front of Victory Boulevard.
I don't know what the problem is where you go. I know by me, nobody drives. No, all kidding aside.
Push it aside, yeah.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have your wife take your keys away.
Yeah.
So that you can't drive between 2 and 4.
That
so
might
this
be
way
good.
you won't have that problem.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
She'd rather take me away. Take me away from her. Good. What do you got?
No, it is a congested time to drive on Staten Island because
Terrible.
the buses, you do have, when they put the stop panel out on the bus, when the driver moves that sign that says stop, you are supposed to stop.
You have to.
Yeah, of course. Yes, it's the law. And the tickets are severe and the penalties and the points and such. It's not something you just want to go by. But it's the culture, I think, today where kids don't walk to school or they don't walk home from school. Yeah. Very few below high school age. And even high schools, the parents are sort of still attached pretty closely. But, those are the realities of the situation. Staten Island is bad enough. The cars are bigger. The roads are not bigger anymore. The roads don't get bigger, but the cars get bigger, and they get more of them, and more people are there. So, the gridlock becomes super gridlock between school bus time. And it is, it can be disconcerting, but I think you just have to take a breath and just look at the scenery a little bit and, not go into a road rage type of thing.
But that encourages actually road rage because with the more vehicles that are on the road, the more people get upset, right? Whether they get stuck in traffic or they get stuck at a red light. But, we've had this conversation before that where we live, when people the impetus to move to the island happened after the bridge was built. And back in the 60s and the 70s, people moved here with young families. Maybe they had 1 car. If they were lucky, they had 2 cars, right? But what's happened since then is that you've got families now with older children. Those kids each have a car, right? So the typical household probably today has at least 3 to 4 cars.
I agree with you.
If you think about that. I mean, just look at the parking situation on some of the streets.
God,
but
that's
the worst time to drive is between 2 and 4. Now, my I mean, one of the things I think we could do, one of the solutions is to have congestion pricing on Staten Island between 2 and 4. It's crazy,
That's
but
all we need.
you have congestion pricing
I'm laughing.
between 2 and 4, where the only vehicles that are allowed are school buses, delivery trucks, and regular cars, but you have to have a minimum of 4 people in the car. Otherwise, you're not allowed on
You
the
know,
road.
that's interesting, but it ain't gonna
Between 2 and 4.
It ain't gonna happen because they have to put up the limited. If it's limited special pricing, they're gonna put up those things that pick up the signal.
sensors.
The sensors. Thank you so much. You've got such a great vocabulary.
I more than
It's
four,
good because
more than four letters.
I forget a lot of words sometimes.
Oh,
I look
my
at
God.
Mike to
All
fill
right, so
in
that's
the blanks.
that's my gripe, and nothing we can do about it. But it's getting worse and worse. It's really a little trip from one part of Forest Avenue to another part, just 6 blocks away. I have to. Sometimes I'm thinking about walking, and I do, but it's ridiculous. You can't move at that time between
Right.
those.
What was
times.
that word? The W word? What was that? Walking?
Walking. Oh,
You're actually thinking
I don't-
about walking
I'm
almost
not
6
crazy.
blocks.
Wow.
Wow.
Nobody walks. Nobody walks anymore. Come on, right?
Oh,
When
that's
we were
a-
kids, we'd walk.
I don't.
We'd walk, a mile to school with our friends.
that
That
that's
doesn't
what-
happen.
I used to do that.
You would walk a mile for a camel. Remember that one?
That was later on,
Or a chicken, something.
but that doesn't
I don't
happen. Nobody walks anymore.
No, it's really.
I know I walk in my neighborhood every once in a while. I want to go for a walk in the neighborhood, so I'll do a loop, and it's about almost a mile. I don't pass anybody else walking. I'm the only person walking.
I feel that way too.
It's like a Twilight Zone episode. Where have all the people gone? I'm the only person walking in the neighborhood, and I see the cars go by. And there's nobody driving the cars. That's
That is the Twilight Zone. You're right.
So that's my beef or gripe for the.
well, I don't know what the solution is. If there is a solution,
I don't think there is one.
it'll just have to.
One of the things I will say is that even in high school, my friends have high school age kids. They drive them to high school, and the reason is sometimes the buses get it's scary for some kids, especially kids starting out in high school or even starting out in middle school, where they get on a bus and it gets rough. There are kids from different parts of Staten Island who push and shove and pick on, and there is a lot of that because I worked.
But
in the
who
school
created
system.
this situation? It was our kids that created this situation of not wanting their kids to walk to school.
Okay.
I mean, that's anyway,
Okay.
onus is on us.
Close the schools.
That's
Yeah.
another thought. Maybe we should stagger the school day.
Well, they
have
just-
24-hour school day.
Well, some schools do stagger release time, getting the kids out of school at different times. If it's a 6th grade, they go early. That's good, and they should do more of that.
Well, I remember when it was so crowded when we went to school back in the late 60s and
Stone
70s. In the high schools, they started at classes at 7 in the morning.
Yes,
you had
I remember
0
that.
period, they called it. And then they had 1 through 9 periods a day. And some kids got out before lunchtime. They went from 0 to 5. They had 6 classes, 5 classes, and they were out at 11:30. They were out of school, because they started 7 in the morning. Some kids didn't start until periods 5 through 9 or something, so they didn't come in until 9:30 because it was so crowded.
And that's years ago they did that because
Yes.
it was a smart move. Now, one more note about that, since you brought up 0 period, which is one of my favorite things of all time. 0 period at Curtis High School started at 7:10 or 7:30, whatever it was. And as a freshman, they gave me as a gym period. We had to take gym. You either went to the gym to play basketball or to do calisthenics, or since Curtis High School had a swimming pool, you had
Yeah, it was the
0
only-
period swim in the middle of winter. Plus, let me add this. This is true. It sounds like I'm making this up. I am not. This has been a controversy for Curtisites
High school.
for years. The boys would swim nude. That's a fact. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying.
I did too in my high school,
Nude? Yeah.
I think.
Well, I know we did.
I know we weren't wearing bathing
We
suits.
weren't wearing, and on top of that, it's 7:00 in the morning. There's a snowstorm outside, and we're going swimming. So every guy tried to get out. Now the ball players got off the hook. If you were a basketball player, baseball player, a coach, whatever, or if you were helping the coach, you got off the hook. I had to get off the hook. I could swim. I didn't mind being. I did mind being nude. I don't particularly want to be walking around nude, even in front. I don't care. I mean, that's uncomfortable. But you get used to it. I got off the hook because I was able to do I was able to score the basketball book and the baseball book. I was able to do take care of the book. So the coach said,
Oh, so you didn't have to go swimming.
I got off. I didn't have to
You
go
got off. So,
anything
so you
to-
don't actually know if they were swimming in the nude.
I was there. I had to go the first couple of
Oh,
sessions.
okay.
He saw it. He
I
observed.
saw it, and I didn't want.
Well, you didn't see the bathing suits.
Well, there weren't any.
There weren't any.
Okay.
Why are you? You know,
Now, what?
I've been in this country for a long time. I don't know what that means. I have no idea.
Was this? I don't know, and maybe it doesn't matter. Were the girls subject to the same
No,
rules?
the girls would all have to wear the same type of suit, which was a black.
They were
whatever.
like potato sacks.
That's exactly
right.
it.
I remember that.
No, they couldn't. No,
Okay.
And
okay.
there
So
would-
I didn't miss a lot
there
by
would
not
be
experiencing
monitors.
that, I guess.
There were monitors, girls working in the office who would pass notes, and they'd knock on the door, and some of the lunatic boys would open the door. The girl would come in. Oh, she'd scream. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I wanted to know what. Here's the thing, and I'm going to end this. I wanted to know what rule was there. Why is this necessary? Why don't we just bring our suits from home, put them on, and go swimming? Apparently, there was some. This was going on since World War II. This has been an old military.
Was it
the
a
guy-
hygiene issue?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay.
They would line the boys up, and the hygiene teacher or the swim teacher would say, "All right, guys, turn around, bend down," and this guy would look.
Wait, this is in high school?
This is in high school. I'm not
All
making
right,
this
all right.
up.
Let's move on.
I don't
No,
know.
but
I think,
you understand
Dave, I
that?
think you've
I-
had some bad dreams.
Oh, give me a break.
Understand. Let's move on.
This is something I asked everybody. I was a teacher, and I asked some of the teachers who still work there, and they said, "We don't know. It's an old military thing." Excuse me. I'm getting.
Well, you know
I'm
what?
getting heartburn talking
Before
about this.
I lose my train of thought. I have something that's been on my mind for a couple of weeks now, and maybe this is a good place to bring it up. There's a commercial on TV that is really upsetting me, and that has to do with we could mention it, I guess, right? What's going to
Anything.
happen? They're going to
Mention
fire.
anything.
They're not going to
They're
fire
not gonna
us.
do anything.
Anyway, you know the
Maybe they will.
Prevagen
Yeah.
commercials, and I noticed out of all the commercials, this one really bothers me, and it's where a pharmacist is being interviewed,
I saw that one.
right? And he says, I take Prevagen,
I'm
and it's,
David.
right, or whatever. And
Well,
name
maybe
was- his name was David.
tell the
And it's-
audience who doesn't know maybe what Prevagen.
well, Prevagen
does.
is a supplement, a supplement
For your
that
brain.
enhances supposedly memory. If you have memory issues, you think you have memory loss, it enhances the ability to prevent that, to prevent memory loss. Whether it does or it doesn't, who knows? I read that the only study that's ever been done on whether or not the efficacy of Prevagen is by a company that is owned by the company that manufactures Prevagen. That's the only study that's ever been done. Like I said, whether it works or not, I don't know. But a thought occurred to me watching this pharmacist, or the actor portraying the pharmacist is, that's probably the last drugstore I would want to go to have a prescription filled.
Exactly.
Somebody who thinks they have memory loss.
So let me tell you.
Why would they do that? Why would they put something like that on TV?
I think
Why would they put
No,
anything
I mean,
on? Some of
no,
the
no,
stuff-
I mean
well-
the pharmacist, the screenwriter and the teacher or whatever. Okay, I get the investment banker hey, if you want to use an investment banker who thinks he's got memory loss, but somebody who's dealing. I mean, it reminded me of the scene in It's a Wonderful Life.
He forgets how many pills he's
Remember
counting out.
where he's he goes in to pick up a delivery, and I forget the druggist's name. He's drunk, because his son, I think, was just killed in World War I or something, and he puts the wrong medication in the vial. And
Yeah.
He chases down the kid at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that scene in It's a Wonderful Life, where at least there was a reason why the guy, he was in such a state of mind. Here, you've got somebody who is admitting he has memory issues, and he's I mean, if you had to go in for surgery, right? If you had to go in for surgery, back surgery, and the surgeon, the nurse says, wow, did you notice Scott over there? I understand he's been taking Prevagen because he thinks he's got memory issues. And then you're thinking, and you're lying there, wait a second, Scott's my surgeon. Would you?
No, well, the man counting your pills should be able to count to 10, or remember that he put 5 pills in before he puts the second 5 pills.
Forget about counting the pills. Hopefully they're the right pills.
And I guarantee
Well,
you.
yeah, you're right. Where does it start? Where does it stop? Right.
I guarantee you this: the guy is a pharmacist. He's
that
not,
actor.
He is I am telling you, he's a pharmacist. But the company, to be to be more on the level, told him, we want you to be in a commercial, and they paid him quite a bit of money.
Oh, they're all paid. They're all paid.
But he's not an actor. I think he is a pharmacist.
No, Dave. Some of those commercials have little disclaimers on the
bottom.
bottom. It says portrayal.
Right.
They're not. These are the people are actors portraying these people who are touting certain results of medications.
I mean, I'm wondering. There is one Prevagen commercial with a husband and wife, and they're both on Prevagen.
Right.
And I'm just wondering if they actually remembered
who they're married to.
Who they're married to.
Well, they're making headway with that problem. Headway, isn't that interesting? That was
that's a good
from the top of my head, which doesn't have much in it anymore. Yes. So, all right. So we covered a thing. What else we got here?
Well, I think I mentioned on an earlier show that we are getting large amounts of mail coming in, mostly in praise of our efforts here and encouraging us and suggesting things. And we got a letter this week that came in. I had a little meeting this week with the under assistant for the postmaster on Staten Island, and he's the assistant to the assistant. That's why he's the under assistant. Very nice man named Vincenzo Batz. And I said, Baats. And I said, when I met with him at the Royal Crown Bakery, because that's where all the good meetings take place on Staten Island, all the people who have to get together. And Vincenzo Batz, I said, that's a strange name, because I have a name that's, not common. And he said, although our name was changed at Ellis Island when our ancestors came over. I says, okay, I understand that. But Vincenzo Batz, and he's a very nice man, salt of the earth, and he has a booming voice. I says, well, can I call you Vinny? He says, oh, please call me Vinny. All my friends call me Vinny. I says, you don't worry about them, Vinny and Batz and the booming voice. I says, that's a weird combination. He says, yes, people have called me Vinny Boom Batz, but that's not what this is about, though. But so I met with him, and we discussed how the mail is going to be picked up and who's going to deliver it to the studio, whether it's going to come to us or the studio here. And, and there's a lot of mail. But we got a letter this week from a young lady from Terre Haute, Indiana. Okay, her name is, I think I wrote down, Suzanne Chesborough, and she lives out.
Wait a second, we're actually being seen out there, heard out there? That's amazing.
We have a reach because this is cable TV, and we're also on the web through our Staten Island, the organization that's doing this.
That's
on the
amazing.
Web.
So there are actually people in the Midwest that are catching
this.
Yes,
because the cable systems they link with each other, and it's all public television sort of thing and community access. And there are people watching us from all over who end up watching us. And she's in Terre Haute, Indiana. And Terre Haute, I wasn't familiar with that. I looked it up. It's on the Wabash River. It's a very Terre Haute means highland. Terra, the earth. Haute is it was founded by the French Canadian fur traders.
Not the Thailand like in Asia, in
No,
Southeast
Highland.
Asia. Oh,
Highland. I'm sorry. My mouth doesn't work too well today. It stands for Highland. Terra is earth. Haute has to do with high. And the French-Canadian fur traders were in that area, and that's what was named after them. And she works in the federal penitentiary in Terre Haute. There's a facility there, and I think I mentioned earlier on the show that we get a lot of mail from correctional facilities. And then she works there.
Yeah, you mentioned that the last podcast that we did.
Yeah, and she works there. She's in the cafeteria, and she wanted to know if we were going to do any cooking shows, or any things to do with cooking, because she has some recipes she wanted to give us for muskrat, she said, and what else? Guinea fowl. So these are, and so I wrote her a note back and tell that thank you for that, of course, for getting in touch with us, and we will.
By the way, sorry for interrupting. It's interesting that she's watching us in Terre Haute, but is this the fact that she's asking us if we do cooking programs, is that a compliment? Should we take this as a compliment?
Well, it might, we might have something down the road where we can, expand on our little show here and, maybe come up with some household things, or, cooking is one of them. I enjoy cooking.
Well, I guess we could probably come up with a recipe, not necessarily do a...
not maybe not a demonstration, but we'll see. We don't know where this is going, with as many fans as we have, we will entertain a lot of things. And she was very nice about it. And, like I said, she works in the penitentiary there. It's a federal facility. It's kind of grim to think about it, but that's the facility in Terre Haute where they house the people who are on death row, on the federal level for the federal government. And so that's where she worked, and we give a little shout out to Suzanne.
Yeah,
Suzanne.
Suzanne, thank you for watching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Suzanne, I'd like to know if there's anybody on death row in particular that you're feeding these days. If you could just pass along his name, we'll give him a shout out.
Well, they said there's a handful of them there, but they house other people also in that penitentiary, and it's run by the federal government. It's a federal facility. And
I wonder if there's a cookbook out there that is designed just for prisoners in
that's not a bad
penitentiaries. Penitentiaries. That's interesting. I think we should look into that.
I can ask my wife. She's in that business.
Yeah,
she's retired.
If there's a and what kind of meals?
Yeah.
Do they people request?
I had a book once, and we can do this in the future, that they listed all of the. It's a little macabre. The last meals.
What else is new?
The last meals that prisoners are afforded, because there are a lot of state executions that are done. Different states have and there have been quite a few in the last few years, and they offer them a last meal. And I found it interesting what some of these people ordered for their last meal. Some wanted nothing. Some wanted tremendous buffet type of meals with double this, double that, shakes and burgers, and so that's
that's interesting.
Well, I wonder. I'll tell you what's interesting though is if the menu that they offer to, let's say, somebody that is in prison, is the menu different if you're in a state facility versus a federal facility? In other words, if the federal facility offers better food, is that where you would prefer to go if you're going to serve time?
I don't think you have a choice. It depends on what court you're tried in. You're tried on federal charges, and that's when you go to federal penitentiary.
And if this conversation continues, we might end up in a federal prison.
Well, who says we're not? Staten Island has a lot of nicknames.
Yes.
And one of them is the Rock.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yes,
People
the
use it.
Rock.
People
Right.
said,
We live on the Rock.
Well, there's a
Yes.
rock out in San Francisco that place.
that was Alcatraz.
called the
and that
Rock.
was,
But
and
thi-
it
but
was
this
called
but
the
this
Rock.
island is referred to as the Rock.
Some people do. When I come back home over the Outer Bridge or the Gothels, I said it's good to be back on the Rock.
Oh, that's
so
very nice.
we're so who knows what it what it means or where we are or what we're doing. So that's as opposed to the
Okay.
Well, I think on that note, we've got a minute or two left.
Oh.
The last podcast that we did, we ended. I was talking about the conversation that I had with my neighbor, Mrs. Murphy, and how I spent some time with her, and she showed me this book that she had with various phrases and what the history of these phrases, how they evolved, and she gave me one of them, which I ended the program with. Well, since then I had a conversation with her, and she gave me the book.
No.
She said, "You know what? I heard your podcast, and I was so thrilled that you actually used what I gave you. I'm going to give you the book, and you can use it
That's great.
however you like." So what
Let's
I'm
use it.
going to try to do is I'd like to try to end the podcast with one of these things, one of these phrases from
Go
her
for it.
book, and the history, according to Mrs. Murphy, could be somebody else may have a different history, but this is according to Mrs. Murphy, and this is the phrase that we refer to, as dead ringer, how that came about.
No.
Well, it turns out that England is old and small, and the local folks started running out of places to bury people, so they would dig up coffins and would take the bones to a bone house and reuse the grave. When reopening these coffins, 1 out of 25 coffins were found to have scratch marks on the inside, and they realized that they had been burying people alive. So they would tie a string on the wrist of the corpse, lead it through the coffin and up through the ground and tie it to a bell. Someone would have to sit out in the graveyard all night, which is where we get the graveyard shift term from, to listen for the bell. Thus, someone could be saved by the bell or was considered a dead ringer.
Very, very good. See, I wouldn't know that. If you studied this. This is interesting, and it's the first time I'm hearing.
See that?
I know the phrase, I know the term,
And
but
now you
have
know
meaning.
graveyard shift and dead ringer.
I worked the graveyard shift in radio. It's terrible.
And with that, till next time, over and out.
Yes. Yes.
bye-bye.